Today our topic is the nervous system. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the introduction. Okay, we looked at neurons and how they communicate with each other. In this unit, we will look at the brain and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord, which are parts of central nervous system. Okay, so these are parts of central nervous system. The nervous system is responsible for all our behaviors and thought processes. The nervous system of the human has two major divisions, the CNS. So nervous system has two major divisions, which is CNS and PNS. CNS comprises of brain and spinal cord. Alright. Okay, which work together to make behavior possible. If there is any damage to any part of the spinal cord, the brain, then it causes different kinds of physiological and behavioral problems. The PNS is further subdivided into somatic nervous system and autonomous nervous system. Okay, we will discuss here how damage to any part of the CNS affects our behavior. Okay. So now we're gonna study the CNS. First, the CNS consists of brain and spinal cord. It may thus be said that the system is located within the skull. Brain is located within the skull, and spinal cord is located within the spine. Alright. So these are the most important parts of the human body. They are very delicate structure, hence are protected in bone and covered with the help of meninges. Meninges are the outer layer of the brain which protects them. Meninges are three thin membranes or soft tissue layer that protect the CNS called as a dura mater. Meninges protect CNS which is called dura mater. Of colorless fluid known as dura mater, arachnoid membrane and pia mater. Dura mater, arachnoid membrane, pia mater. These are the three thin membranes or soft tissues. Another protective mechanism is the presence of colorless fluid known as cerebrospinal fluid, okay, that is found in the central canal of the spinal cord and cerebral ventricles. Found inside the central canal of the spinal cord, okay, of the brain that provides a protective cushion to the brain and spinal cord. Patients whose cerebrospinal fluid is drained in some way suffer from intense headaches and intense pain while jerking their head. Also, in case of a tumor, the fluid accumulates in the ventricles and causes the walls of the ventricle as well as the brain to expand. Okay, this condition is known as hydrocephalus. Basically, hydrocephalus is a problem in which the patient or the person experience that the fluid accumulates in the ventricles and causes the walls of the ventricles as well as the brain to expand. It is cured by removing the tumor and draining out the excess fluid from the ventricles. Brain integrates the inputs from the sensory receptors and delivers the motor output to the effector. It is also involved in complex functions such as regulation of heartbeat, breathing, consciousness, cognitive functions, etc. The spinal cord is placed within the spinal column. within the spinal columns. Okay, and the next section we will deal with the structure and the functions. Okay, so next we have, this was the brain. Now we will do the spinal cord. We will start with the structure of spinal. The shape of spinal cord is oval, like cylinder, and about 45 centimeters in length in an average person. Alright, and it is placed within the spinal column. The spinal cord is a very delicate structure, hence, it is protected by the cranial bones and the vertebra that surround it. There is a pair of spinal nerves attached to the spinal cord at 31 different levels of spine. The pair of nerves, one is attached to the left and the other is attached to the right, is slightly tapered at the lower end. Spinal cord is like this. Wait, I will show you. It is like this, and this. Okay, this is known as the cervical curve. Can you see? This is thoracic curve, and this is lumbar curve. Okay, there are two places where it bulges, at the cervical region and the other at the lumbar region. There are a number of vertebrae that surround it. There are two deep grooves in the spinal cord in the middle, known as the anterior median fissure and the posterior median sulcus. There are two deep grooves in the spinal cord. Which is anterior median fissure and posterior median sulcus. There are nerve roots that enter and leave the spinal cord. The dorsal nerve root helps to send the information from the sensory receptors to the spinal cord, and ventral root carries motor information from the spinal cord to the parts of the body. So the dorsal nerve root it sends information from sensory to spinal cord, and ventral nerve root carry motor information from spinal to parts of the body.